In today's class, I am going to tell you about how to deploy a full stack application in your AWS cloud. Okay, so firstly, let us run our frontend and backend in our local laptop. Okay, for this, my backend is student service application. I am just running my application. Let us check whether the application is working fine or not. Right, my application has started on port 8086. Now let us run our front-end application also. So the front-end application that I have created is student web. Now open your terminal, go to your terminal, right, run your front-end application. The command is right, go to command prompt and execute the same command. Right, see that your front end is working. Coming to your backend, let us go and check with your MySQL database whether I have data with me or not. Or come to your front end once, let us add some records. Right, your records have been added successfully. Right, so I am able to post my data. I can edit, I can perform all the CRUD operations. Now, so your front end and back end is working fine in your laptop. Now let me show you how to deploy your Spring Boot application and your full stack application in your AWS cloud service. Right, for that, log into your AWS account. So in this, see here in the back end I have used Spring Boot application. In the front end I have used a React application. For my database I have used MySQL database. Right, for that, so firstly in our AWS we have a service called RDS service. Let us create our database in our RDS service. So for that, go to your search bar and type RDS. Go to your RDS, scroll down, you have an option called create database. Click on create database. So I have used MySQL database. You can choose whatever the database that you have used. So for my project I have used MySQL. So choose MySQL. Hide filters, enable these two options. In your templates, go to feed tier application. Name your database application. So what is the database name that I have created? Same name I am going to create in AWS also. Student DB. And the default username for AWS RDS service is admin. Password, you can manage your password. I am giving my password as password only. Pro. So record all those details for your further references. Right, what is my database name? Student DB. And what is my username? Admin. And what is my password? The password is password. Right, scroll down. Right, very important option, public access. Your public access should be yes. After that, additional configuration, your MySQL database will work on 3306 port. Record that also for your future reference. Once again, go to your additional configuration. It is asking for database name. What is the database name that I have created? Just give your database name and click on create database. That's it. It will take certain time for you to create your database. Once the database is created, we can do further steps also. It will take certain time for you to create. Meanwhile, I am pausing the video for certain time. Dear students, we have created our database. See here, our database has been created. Now, after the database has been created, just go to your database. Once the database is created, see here, an endpoint has been created for you. Copy the endpoint and save it for your further references. Once the endpoint has been created, go to security. In the security, you have VPC security groups. Go to your security groups. You will have your major security group. Once again, go to your security group. On the right side, you will have edit inbound rules. In that, see, whatever the rules are there, just delete all those rules and click on add rule. First, go for all traffic. You will have all traffic. Choose anywhere. Add rule, custom TCP, anywhere, click on save rule. Okay, what are the two rules that you should add? One is all traffic, custom TCP, anywhere, and click on save rule. That's it. Your database has been created successfully. After the database has been created successfully in your RDS, now integrate that particular RDS to your MySQL workbench. So this is your MySQL workbench. When you open for the first time, you will get this particular screen. In this particular screen, you will have a plus symbol where you can add your connection. Click on plus. Okay. Now name your connection. I wanted to AWS because I have created a student project. Just I am naming a connection. Student RDS service. Okay, after naming your connection name, go to your host name, delete the IP address that you have, and in order to connect to your database, you got an endpoint, right? Choose that particular endpoint and paste it in your host name. Okay, so what is the port name that RDS service is working on with your MySQL database? That is 3306. And what is the username? See here, we have recorded all the things. The username is admin. So give your username as admin. After that, for entering of password, click on store in vault. Okay, it will ask for password. What is the password? The password is password which I have given. Click on OK. Once click on test connection. If all the parameters that you have given are correct, then it will prompt you success message. Means your MySQL workbench has successfully established a connection with the RDS service which is in AWS. See, this is what the connection that we have created. This is what the connection that we have created. Now open your connection. You can see the database that we have created. The database name is, what is the name of the database that you have created? StudentDB. With the same name, you can check with the database. Right now there are no tables that are created. Right? For that, with this, your database creation in AWS was completed. After that, whatever the database that you have created, now I have integrated this particular RDS service with my MySQL workbench. Okay. Now go to your Spring Boot application. Go to application.properties file. In your application.properties file also make certain changes that you have created. So in place of localhost, now your Spring Boot application have to connect to RDS service which is in AWS, right? For that, an endpoint has been created. Now whatever the endpoint is there, copy that particular endpoint and replace it with localhost that was there already there. Okay, and your port number of RDS service is 3306. And what is the name of your database? And your database name is StudentDB, which was all same, right? See here, StudentDB is the database. This is my endpoint. And what is the port number? 3306. So first change with this URL, because I wanted to connect this particular Spring Boot application to AWS database, right? RDS database. Okay. After that, the second parameter that I should change is spring.datasource.username. What is the data source username? Root has to be replaced with admin because my credentials are admin, right? What is my password? The password that I have given to you is password, right? So choose password. Once save your application. So after saving your application, once check whether you are able to create a table or not. So for that, run your Spring Boot application. Click on. If you are able to create a table, means that your Spring Boot application is working fine for you. Means that a connection has been established between your Spring Boot application and RDS service, right? So there was a problem with my port number. I am changing my port number to 8080. Save. Once again rerun your application, because previously I did not stop my application, that is why I have got a port issue, right? Your application has started in 8080. Now go to your MySQL workbench. You have created student DB. Once refresh, now you can see the tables that are created. What is the table that you have created? Student table, right? What are the columns of your table? Student ID, email, major, name, right? With this, your Spring Boot application is working fine. Now if you wanted to insert the data, now you can test your application by using Postman. So open your Postman. Choose post, right? Choose post, right? What is the endpoint? Is API http://localhost:// 8080 is my port, /students is my URL, endpoint URL. So to insert the data, go to body, raw, JSON format, and what are the columns that I should give? So go to your student entity. What are the things that I should give? Name, major, and email, right? These are the parameters that I should give, right? First parameter, name, comma, major, BTech, email, right? After giving all the details, once click on send button. If it is able to post the data, see here, my data has been inserted successfully. Go to your database, execute this query so that you can check with the details. See, my first detail have been inserted successfully, means your Spring Boot. Now let us try to retrieve also so that you can check. So using which particular method? Get method, and click on simply send method. The same record can be retrieved. Am I right? So my Spring Boot application is working fine as of now, because all the APIs are working fine. Now after your APIs have been successfully working, now what is that I have to do? Whatever the Spring Boot application that I have created, now this particular Spring Boot application has to be successfully deployed into my server, AWS server. Okay, now I'll show you the second step. What for that? We have a service called EC2. So go to search bar and choose which particular service to create your server in AWS. Right, in that click on launch instance, name your server AWS student server, student application server. Choose give any name that you want. Copy your name for your reference. I am going to choose AWS Linux for this. Choose your create a new key pair. Name the same name and create a new key pair name with the same name that you have given. Choose ppk file. Create key pair. Scroll down. Allow HTTPS and HTTP and click on launch instance. That's it. That's it. Your instance will be created. See here, your instance has been created. Select that particular server immediately. See, once you select your server, you will have two IP address. One is your public IP, other is your private IP. Copy your public IP address and paste it for your future reference. After choosing of your public IP address, go to security tab. We need some additional configurations to be done because my Spring Boot application should work on 8080 port number. So for that I have to enable that particular thing. So go to security groups, edit inbound rules, click on add rule, choose custom TCP. What is the port number our Spring Boot application is working? Our Spring Boot application is working on, what is the port number I have given? 8080. So enable that particular port number, right? 8080. If your application is running in 8085, you can give your port number here. So my major intention is whatever your project is working on, which particular port, give that particular port number here. Okay, that is my intention. Anywhere, click on save changes. With that, our configuration is done. Now go to your EC2 instance. Right, now go connect to your server. How do you connect? Click on, now select your server and click on connect button. What is the default username? EC2-user. So click on connect. You can able to connect to your server. Now the EC2-user is able to connect to your server that you have created. Okay. First of all, whenever you have first log into your server, first of all you have to update your internal repository. For that the command is sudo yum update. Click on enter. Once the internal repository has been updated, let us wait for some time. Right, my internal repository has been updated. After installing of your internal repository, my Spring Boot application needs Java software to run this particular Spring Boot application. For that I wanted to install Java software. Okay, right, for that see here, go to Google, search for Java installation. So install Java 17 version or higher based on your application that you are running. If your application you have created in 21 version, you can install 21. Okay, install Java version in Amazon Linux. Right, see here on the first link that you have got, you can go to that particular link, scroll down, see you can see the command. Just copy this particular command and go to your EC2 instance. Go to your EC2 instance, paste the command and try to install your Java software. It will ask for permission. US. Once the installation is over, we have to verify that proper version has been installed or not. Right, once the installation is done, the command to verify is java space hyphen version. You can check. So which version of Java has been installed? 17 version of Java has been installed successfully. Once the installation is successful, come to your Spring Boot application. Now you have to build your Spring Boot project, right? For that, right click on your project, go to run as, Maven, click on Maven build. Now go to goals profile and give a command clean package hyphen capital X, which will build your project, right? Click on run. Now your Spring Boot application is building your project, which will generate a small jar file in target folder. I'll show you. It will take few minutes of time, so do not worry. So you have seen what is the message that you have got. Build success means your project has been successfully built. So now go to the project location. You can find your project location here. This is where my project is, student service. Now see here, before we build, we don't have this particular folder. Once the build is successful, it has created a target folder. Inside the target folder, the respective jar file, executable file has been created. This file we have to push to our server. Okay, how for that? Now for that we have to copy this particular file to our AWS. Okay, so for that, what is that I have to do? In order to copy, I have a command. So but that command will be little bit clumsy. For that, I have used a software called FileZilla, which is used to copy from your system to your EC2 server, right? So in this, click on new site, AWS student. After that, come to your right side, protocol, choose SFTP protocol, host. What is the IP address that we are using? We have already copied our IP address, so copy your IP address. Copy the IP address in which particular place? Host place. Defaultly your Linux server will work on port number 22. Login type, choose key file, because whenever we have created a server, we have created a ppk file. So what is the user? The default username is ec2-user. Key file, we have successfully downloaded our key file, and our account download file is in downloads folder, AWS student server.ppk. That's it. With this particular things, you can connect to your EC2. It will ask for prompt, click on OK. See here, it is establishing our connection between our normal system to this particular EC2. See, this is your EC2 location and this is my physical laptop location, right? Where was my project? My project is in my downloads folder. Or else directly go to your downloads folder. Right, in my downloads folder I have target folder. Inside my target folder, this is the file that I have to move. So directly drag it to the server that we have. Right, this is the file that I need. Right, copy this particular thing and directly move to my EC2 hyphen which particular location? Home location. See here, it has started uploading. You can check the status also. My file is uploading to which particular thing? EC2-user home directory. Right, my file has been successfully copied. Okay, only for file copying I am using this particular software. Right, Now go to my EC2 thing. Just if you wanted to check whether your file has been copied or not, go for a file command. What is the command that I have to give? ls. See, your project was already there. Okay. Now what is that you have to do? You have to execute your project. How do you execute your project? For that, the command is java space hyphen jar space student, because the name of the project is student service. So type the starting letter and give tab, which will open your project, and click on enter, which will execute your Spring Boot project. See here, it has started executing. See here, your Spring Boot application, which was installed in your server, have been working fine. Now, in order to test whether this particular application is working fine or not, I have a Postman tool, whether my thing is working or not. So I am going to remove all these URLs. Right, where is this Spring Boot application working right now? It is working in AWS, right? And what is the IP address of your AWS EC2 instance? We have copied, right? Copy that particular thing. Now go to your Postman, and what is the URL that you have to go in order to post your data? http:// previously I have given localhost, because your Spring Boot project was there in your laptop, but right now your Spring Boot application is deployed in your AWS server. So what is the IP address of that particular server? This is my server IP address, right? Where your Spring Boot application is working, it is working on port number 8080. What is the endpoint that we have created? Students, right? If you wanted to insert data, click on body raw JSON, right? Once again, give your data. How do you give your data? Name, what is the second parameter? What is the third parameter? Email. Once your giving of data is done, click on send button. See here in the background, it is executing your Hibernate queries to insert your data, right? So your data has been successfully inserted to your MySQL database also. Once execute this particular query, you can see the second entry also. See here, how many number of entries? Now let us try to retrieve these two records also. How do you retrieve these two records? You can give which particular method? Get method. What is the API? http:// IP address : 8080/students. So that how many number of records will be retrieved? 2 number of records will be retrieved, because I have 2 records in it. Am I right? So with this, deployment of your Spring Boot application to AWS cloud was also successful, right? After that, now it is now time for us to check with your front end. Now open your front end, stop the application that is running fine with you, go to src, go to app.jsx, because all the code that I have written in app.jsx only, so I have all my APIs. Now whatever the APIs that are there, replace localhost with the IP address that I have shared to you. Wherever localhost is there, simply replace localhost with the IP address that I have given to you. Okay, after IP address have been shared, check with the port number also. What is the port number that your thing is working? Your port number is working on. See here, what is the endpoint? Go to your Postman. What is the port number? 8080. So replace 8086 with 8080. wherever your Spring Boot application is working on which particular port number, specify that particular port number. Okay, with these two changes have to be made on all the URLs that are there in your project. If there are multiple components in you, go to each component and replace this command localhost, replace your localhost with IP address and port number that is running on your Spring Boot project. Okay, with this, now let us check whether my front end is working fine or not. Now for that, npm run dev. Right, see here 2 records have been. Let me insert one more record. I have inserted my record and click on add button. So third record has been added. Once go to your MySQL workbench, you can able to see the 3 records, right? So with this, your front end is also working fine with our updated IP address and port numbers. Now I'll show you how to deploy this particular front end application also in your AWS cloud. Okay, for that, simply once again go to your AWS. We have a service called S3 where I am going to deploy my project in my S3 buckets. Okay, in that, create a bucket, name your bucket student AWS. Okay, that is the bucket that I have created. AWS front end is the project that I am going to create. Okay, in this, go untick your block public access, check mark this, click on create bucket. Right, your S3 bucket has been created. Once the S3 bucket has been created, go to permissions tab. In that, scroll down, you have an option called bucket policy. Click on edit policy. Now I'll give a script to you. In that, bucket policy is there. I'll share the bucket policy with you. There is a bucket policy that I have written. Simply just copy and paste this particular bucket policy script. I'll share this particular thing in your description also. Right, scroll down. In the bottom, you have a bucket policy. See here, whatever the script that is written inside the curly braces, just copy that particular thing, come to your S3 bucket, paste that particular bucket policy. Okay, the last thing that you have to do is copy the bucket URL and paste it here. What is that I have written? Simple. See here, what is the bucket I have created? Student AWS frontend. This is where I am going to store all my frontend project. Okay, I am going to give permission, because in order to retrieve all those particular objects, I am going to allow this permission. That's the only thing that I have written. Right, scroll down, click on save changes. Once the changes have been done, go to properties tab, scroll down. In the last thing, you will have a column called static website hosting. Click on edit. By default it will be in disabled state. Click on enable. Okay, now see here, once go to your front end project. Now you have to build your front end project also. For that, stop your execution. Now the command to build is npm run build This is to build your front-end project. See here, your build has been successful. Now where is this particular file located? I'll show you. Right, my project is in downloads folder. So come to downloads location. There I have student web. Inside the student web, after the build is successful, it will create a dist folder. Inside the dist folder, how many number of files have been there? 3 files, 2 files and 1 folder. Right, now I have to copy these 3 files. See, among this, the major file is index.html. That is what it is asking. So come to your S3 bucket. Now what is the source document it is asking? The file it has created is index.html, which we have to give it. Okay, after that click on save changes. After that go to objects column, try to upload, add files. Where are all the applications? Go to downloads folder. In your downloads folder, we have a project front-end student web dist. Select all of them. How many files have been copied? 2 files. After that, add folder. Which folder to be added? Assets folder. Click on add, upload. See here, the documents of this particular assets folder has also been added. After that, click on upload button. See here, all the documents have been uploaded. Okay, after the upload is successful, simply close your application. Once you upload everything, go once again, come back to properties, scroll down. See, before that we have hosted our static website, right? It has created an endpoint. Click on the endpoint. See here, our front-end application has been hosted successfully. Right, front end, back end. See here, if you wanted to add a new record, I can add new record. Sagar btech sagar @gmail.com. That's it. Click on add student. See here, it has added our new student. Okay, even you can edit your student. See, it has been updated. Okay, after that, if you wanted to delete also, you can delete your record. Okay, so this is how the process of deploying of full stack application into your AWS has been concluded. Okay, thank you for everyone.